The general form for the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h comma k, the point h comma k is the center of the circle. So basically, if this was a circle and it was on a graph, this would be the point h comma k. And r is the radius. So in this case, this distance from the center to the edge is the radius. So if you use the general form and you know the transformations, you can graph a circle given an equation. So let's practice that. So let's say we have the equation x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. So first of all, what is the coordinate point for the center? Well, 2 is h and 3 is k, so the center would be 2 comma 3. So the center is 2 comma 3, and all this is equal to r squared, so r squared is equal to 9, making r equal to 3, because 3 squared is 9. So the radius is 3. So now that we know this information, we can graph this circle. So we would just count down here. Let's just say this is 2, and this is 3. So right here, that'd be the center. It's not actually on the graph of the circle, but I just drew it in with a dot. That's the center of the circle. And then the radius is 3. So then we just go 1. Okay, so we would just draw these points here, and then just draw the circle in like that. Okay, so if I gave you this equation and I asked you to find the area of the circle, well, you know the radius is 3, so the area would be pi r squared. So the radius is 3, so the area would be equal to pi times 3 squared, or 9 pi. Okay, let's do one more example. So, hold on. I'm going to erase this stuff. Okay. So let's say, once again, the equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So in this time, let's change the equation up a little bit. So let's say I have x plus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to r squared. Now, since this is x plus 3 right here, and the equation is in the form x minus h, so yeah, this is the center, h comma k, we have to manipulate this to get it in the form x minus h. So we know that x plus 3 is the same as x minus negative 3. So this is the same as x minus negative 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals, let's just say r is 3. So equals 9. Okay, so in this case, your h value would be negative 3, and your k value would be 1. So the center would be at the point negative 3, comma 1. And then you do the same thing. The radius is 3, so then you would just draw something like this with radius 3. Okay, and another thing that you have to be able to do on the final is isolate one variable of an equation. So let's say they give you that the equation is x minus 2 squared plus y minus k squared is equal to, plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 9. So let's say I want to solve for x. So the first thing I would do is I would subtract y minus 1 squared to both sides, because I want to solve for x. So x minus 2 squared is equal to 9 minus y minus 1 squared. Now, since I have this x minus 2 squared and I want to get rid of the squared, I would take the square root of both sides. So if I take the square root of both sides, the square root of x minus 2 squared is just x minus 2. I'm going to go up here. So it's x minus 2. And then all that is equal to the square root of 9 minus y minus 1 squared. And every time you take the square root, you have to do plus minus. Because if you think about it, if you have the negative square root of 9 minus y minus 1 squared, and you do that to the power of 2, then you would get x minus 2 also. So when you take the square root, you have to do a plus minus. So now I have x minus 2 is equal to plus minus the square root of 9 minus y minus 1 squared. And then to solve for x, I would just add 2 to both sides. So my final answer would be x equals plus minus square root of 9 minus y minus 1 squared plus 2. And I just isolated one of my variables. And of course, if you wanted to do that with y, you would just follow the same steps, except you would subtract x minus 2 squared to both sides, and then take the square root, and then solve for y.